So good morning everyone, welcome to Satsang. Let's make some silence first. Nature. Let's call it nature. Uses this body as a tool for its stories, for its purposes, confusing me. And I get confused with this body and these body stories. Nature, not me. As there's still confusion from my part with nature's stories, I let go of those stories. I affirm stillness instead of investment. So good morning, everyone. Just reminding everyone that we use WhatsApp as a means of communication. You can send your questions. They come directly to me. Also, in 2 or 3 days, you can find this video on YouTube with subtitles in different languages. And also Hindi. Portuguese, Hindi, English, Italian, Spanish, Russian, many languages. They are not the best subtitles, but you can understand. So today we're going to talk about perspective. Perspective is something very important for everyone because it allows you to come out from automatic cycles of investments, lifeless ones that suck you inside them and just keep wasting your time. So for you to be in the quest for liberation, certain things must be there. And those things are, for example, the belief in reincarnation. Because, well, if you're looking for liberation, that means you already know, have a glimpse, that you're stuck into a cycle, what they call the samsara, of birth and death, constantly changing and constantly coming here and going to other planes to whatever reason, to assimilate experience, understand them, improve them, whatever. First of all those planes of existence, they are as real as this one. It is all part of the dream. So neither this one or the subsequent other ones are real by definition. They are dreamlike states, as this is. So this cycles where your consciousness is dragged through experiences until the complete disidentification, more or less, of all these stories that you tend to call your own stories. So those who are in the path for liberation, more or less, they carry this belief, they understand them for a lot of reasons, they see them in their own lives, and, well, they can see that they have come with different desires, with different attractions and repulsions and all of that due to past experiences that more or less shape the conditions that you find today. So this is very interesting. But it's usually not taken into account. But we'll go there in a minute. So as those who understand about these cycles, these going to other planes and this and that, they explain that, well, you have come here, you had experiences, you got married, family and this and that, other times you didn't, and you go back again and you come back again as it is time, and as you are dragged by your sanskars. And then you'll build another family. Probably in the next life you were the husband of your present daughter or your present mother or whatever. And these relationships tend to change to solve karmic debts, karmic things. And you do this again and again, again and again, again and again, and again and again. So if you're here, whatever that means, you've probably done this 1,000 times. That's just a number. But probably many, many, many times. So, and what was the purpose of it? If, well, when it ends and it changes, becomes something else. Then it comes back again and it starts again and again and again and again and again. Those who understand of these things, they say it is for you to become better, to improve yourself as a human being. But it isn't actually. Even if that is a part of the process, it is for you to understand, to have the clear vision that you're on a loop, and for you to finally seek liberation. So by believing in reincarnation, everything else follows, more or less. By seeking liberation, there's the recognition that you are trapped. And all these things, they have to be taken in consideration. They are very important. Very important because, well, even by knowing this, you are living your life as it was the only one. As it was the only one. You don't take into consideration all these aspects that you know in some way, and you live it as it was the only one, and you have a limited amount of time, and you need to take the best you can from everything that it is possible to you, according to different kinds of limitations. So the fact that you have done this 1,000 times, or many times, many, many, many times, is not taken in consideration. The fact that the present desires are fruits, are sanskars from previous incarnations. Just that. It's not that oh, I want it a lot and I have to have it or else, blah, blah, blah. No, it's something that comes with you, comes from the past, and you're being pushed into it. It is circumstantial desires. Meaningless. But they are the ones that make sure that another life comes to birth. As you are experience life, you are creating more desires, more sanskars that will create new life. And it's an unending cycle until liberation. So that means that either you continue in loops, in circles, not really doing anything, not really, it's not lasting, it's just experiences that pile up to one another. So either you're feeding the loop or you're working towards a liberation from the loop. It's as simple as this. And the time that you are dedicating to liberation is the time you're not dedicating to maintaining the loop, to maintaining your illusion. And the time that you are dedicating to your illusion, you're not dedicating to your liberation. Simple, simple facts. So, this should make you wonder about the nature of desires. You feel the compulsion, you want them, but they are just fruit of previous, how do you say this? Something that you have been looking and desiring a lot, or just by imagine that would be very good and your mind has been on that a long time. This has created deep sanskar that compels you then into a next life or even in this one to experience that, to live that. And that you don't remember being looking at, those that come from previous lives. You imagine that it is an innate feeling and it has to be fulfilled. And you suffer because of it, because of identification. But it's not. It's just circumstantial. And you need to look at it from another angle. You are believing the impressions that are arising from your intimate space of perception without questioning them. And you're not making a separation. Everything fits in the same bucket. Desire for liberation, the quest for liberation, and desire for worldly investments. Family, security, acceptance, and all these things. And you are dealing with it as they were the same, and they are not the same. The desire for liberation comes from a maturity that is born from the continuous experience, the continuous time being trapped in the loop. There's something within that says, it's not this. I have searched so long into here. It's not this. And it makes you look higher, higher. It is the fruit of maturity. The rest of desires is the pullings from nature, from illusion. And their purpose is to maintain you as you are, to maintain you in the same loop, conditioned to the same stories, lifeless stories, even if they change a lot. It doesn't matter. They are the same, lifeless. So all that you are suffering, they come not only for previous sanskars, but they are also a part of the buildings of that body. So, for example, at the physiologic level, the body is wired to reproduce itself. And that is an intense bodily need. At the bodily level, it's probably the only thing that matters, and everything else revolves around that. And you can see this in many ways. Social interactions, whatever. It is there. It's about reproduction. Even if it is fancy now as pleasure and other things. But at its core, it's reproduction. And the body goes through different phases in life. And if you're identified with the bodies, you'll be identified with the faces. But they are continually automatic, mechanical, lifeless. In a sense that it's not yours. It's a ride that you're going. And when you take it as yours, it's a ride that you cannot reject. But if you take it as the bodily needs, it's a ride that you can reject. So seekers, in a way, they tend to look at known, common beliefs, because they're beliefs, if not tested, they're beliefs. But let's call it knowledge a little bit. Not wisdom, knowledge. They tend to look at that knowledge, for example, of reincarnation, this and that, as something common and nothing to see there, nothing new. And with all spiritual teachings, all of them, there's a lot to see in each and all of them. And they go very deep and deep and deep. But that needs someone with a very strong desire for liberation to go deeper, or else just take it superficially and move on. So whatever you're engaged apart from liberation, understand this. You have done that many times. It's not new. And that person, the love of your life and all of this probably was your mother or your sister, or you're in a different, or even your brother, because this gender thing doesn't work like that. So circumstances change, but they are the same. Wherever you're going to meet, you look at it like, well, I'm discovering something, exploring the different possibilities. And it's not, it's just automatic. Phase of life, happenings, and all these things. This is the horizontal journey. And for the seeker of truth, it is an upward journey, as he is disconnecting more and more from the life of the body. So that desire for a companion, this and that, if it has to come, it will come. If it doesn't have to come, it won't come. No need to bother. But if you're trying to focus, it will make it much more difficult. Either way, it's nothing new. And it's nothing that you haven't done 1,000 times. So why waste time with it again? One more life, reducing your chances of liberation. Why waste time with something that you have done 1,000 times, that belongs to the same loops that traps you into samsara? Why waste time with that? It doesn't make sense. When you pick up the spiritual knowledge that you've gathered and you put it into practice and you try to live according to what you know, certain things don't add up anymore. They don't make sense anymore. And for those who are thirsty for liberation, this has a very big meaning. Why waste time with that which I've done 1,000 times? And it's the same thing every time and every time and every time. Why are you living your life as it was the only life? Because either you believe in reincarnation and liberation or you don't. And when you start seeing things from this perspective, a lot of veils fall down. These veils of novelty, of surprises which are coming and this and that. And it will be much more difficult for your mind to engage in those investments. It will be much, much more easy for you to withdraw from them. Making your knowledge count for something. Or else it's just like, oh, I know I'm a fish. I know I should be in water because that's where I can breathe, but I'll walk. I'll just walk. And I'll strive and I'll suffer and eventually I'll die. There's nothing wrong with the world. Nothing wrong with these things. But they are contrary to the purpose of liberation. Not the things in itself, but you cannot pursue both. Entertain both. Trying to control. Doesn't work like that. Even if you think you're smart and you have taken care of your little world and you think now, oh, everything is safe, nice here, so now I'll dedicate to liberation. And this will continue to be here. This will not disturb. It doesn't work like that. That's just being naive. And as you are doing this, you are not free from it. Even if you're not feeling the attachment or nothing, because it is there, not being threatened, it doesn't mean that you're not attached. And eventually, it will be questioned and you will fall. So the journey is always of humbleness. Those who think they cannot outsmart their own illusion, they fall down. So why? Why are you wasting time with something that you have done 1,000 times? Many, 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 many times. Why are you letting yourself being distracted with that? Oh, I need to find the love of my life. Which life? Which love? Which are you talking about? From the previous life, the other life previous to that? Or the other one? And was it your mother, your auntie, your sister, your friend, your mistress, whatever? Which love are you talking about? Which love? Which one is the soulmate? Oh, it's one that has come through all those different lives and different relationships. Okay. So it's not new also. If it has come and you have lived it again and again and again, do you need to do it another time? Look at from where you like. Being complete, being whole has nothing to do with soulmates. There's no other half of the orange to find. There's the tree to find, where all oranges are. You're looking for the tree, not for another orange. Because that's two oranges, that's the best view, the more elevated view of that matter. The less one is half of the orange. I'm half of an orange, I'm looking for the other half of the orange. And this means both of them have still a lot of work to do. But the orange should be made complete by itself, and then look for the tree. The tree, and that is the source. In this example, at least. That's what will make you whole, that will make you you again. Restore that which is natural. Not another orange, not another soul. If it did, it would already have done it previously, and previously, and previously, and previously. You would not carry that emptiness. And the only thing that makes you run after these things is a certain belief that appears there with emotional stimulus and all these things that gives you a clear vision. This will make me whole. I need this. It's just an urge. It's like, for example, physical hunger. The experience of hunger. Oh, I'm very hungry, I have to eat. And you're very hungry. And then after more or less 3 days, if you don't eat, it disappears. Poof. No more hunger. It doesn't mean that you don't need food, but the experience disappears. That intense need disappears. But it seemed that it wouldn't. It would just get worse. All other things are the same way. It seems that you will not survive if you don't engage in whatever you're being pushed towards to or dragged towards to, either by the force of circumstances or by the force of desires and attractions. That's the only thing. It's a make-believe game. If you believe, you invest. If you don't, you remain silent, still. You're investing, you're engaging, feeding the loops, feeding the cycles of samsara, creating new ones for the future. And if you're staying still, you are taking the food out of those cycles, making sure there won't be a next one. So you choose. But you know a lot already. And from the simple things come the most precious teachings, if you know how to use them. But there you were, 15, 20 years old. Oh, a whole life ahead. So many possibilities. What will I experience? I want this and I want that and blah, 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 blah. Automatic. Just being dragged by the force of sanskars and imagining that, well, that the road is not already there, that I have millions of choices. Thing is, whatever has to come to you will come to you. And if you can, if you have the wisdom to use that which is coming to this identification, the better. Or else you will use it to identify yourself with it and create more sanskars. It's like a bus is coming, unavoidable. You don't see it and you say, oh, I wish there was a bus coming. It is coming. Then either you let yourself be overrun by it or you divert yourself from it. And the bus is the experiences of life, the intense up and downs to make you perplexed, impressed, and continuously investing in them as they were real. And they are feeding from you. So whatever is in this world ahead of you, you have done it 1,000 times. Many, many, many times. If you are looking for liberation, that means that desire by itself is the fruit, the wisdom from all those lives is of nothing. There's something inside, more at the core, that starts that it's not this. It says, it has nothing to do with this. It starts creating a certain aversion, even if you're still wanting it. Many people experience this. Oh, I want this a lot. But then they come close and there's a little, at the same time there is no, but I want it. But it's the wisdom and naiveness at play. But the wisdom has no mental background in the sense that it has no memory, no facts to support it, more or less. It's something more deeper that causes this aversion. So it gets dismissed because it lacks experience. But if the desire for liberation is there, you have done this many, many times to arrive at that conclusion, to something inside calling the highest. But if there's still naiveness, if there's still immaturity, then you will want to put two together, both of them together. And that's the part that makes it take so long. So the body dies, you go somewhere else, to see your experiences, to process them, to learn certain things, then you come back again, and you espouse this one, then another one, and the brother and the sister and the uncle and the father and whatever, and it's a very big confusion. to work on these karmic bonds. And you're just creating new karmic bonds to work on the next one. So instead of, there's no room for this, something new. Not that the way as you expected. Just working on the messes you have done previously and creating new confusions to take care in the next one. And all that time used in the horizontal this horizontal line of life instead of the upward movement towards the source. If you have done it many times, many times, why waste time again with it? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Knowledge is not something just to pile up. It's to investigate, to make it count. And all spiritual knowledge has a purpose and a message, many messages, from the most superficial ones to the most deeper ones. And that depends on you to be able to extract them. One example, for example, is many seekers of truth, or yet to be seekers of truth that has this potential, this calling, they find themselves not being interested in other things that normal persons have interest. And because of their immaturity, they tend to believe that there's something wrong with them and they should have that interest. But this is just the fruit of, I've done that 1,000 times. No, nothing there, anything else there for me. Or during your life, you have experienced certain things and you reach a point where you see that, for example, depression, for example. What is depression saying? You don't have the energy to invest in your world anymore. It means that there's a deeper knowing that has nothing else for you. It's like eating, filling your nutritional needs, and then thinking about food again. If you're satisfied, there won't be a need for food. And if you try to push it, it will not be good, because you've had it again and again. So many people don't find an interest in life because they don't find that which they are looking for. In case of seekers of truth, the path towards liberation, the direct path. And as they try to engage in worldly scenarios, it will be difficult. And many times they push themselves to like what other people like, and eventually they kind of succeed, but with a high cost. And that which was their compass becomes confused. You have done all of this many times. 1,000 times. Why do it again? What's the point in that? And you'll continue to have sons, daughters, wives, husbands, and they will change and well, kind of confusing if we look at it from a human perspective. So if the quest for liberation is there, use all your time for that, and look at all desires that arise, all these things, as just the pullings of nature towards the maintenance of illusion. Nothing else. The more you resist and abide in stillness, the more these cycles get weaker and weaker until they have no power over you. Okay. So next satsang will be Wednesday, 9:30 in the morning, Brazilian time, UTC -3. Until then, make the best use of your time. Make it real.